The fragile victim narcissist. The fragile narcissist is the one who plays the victim oh so well, often leading to many people sympathising with them and not walking away due to the guilt the victim narcissist shames others into feeling when they choose to do so. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers and your continued support. If you are new to the channel, this channel is all about the narcissist personality disorder to give you more understanding of the people you might be dealing with within your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to recover from narcissistic abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. So, some signs of a fragile or a vulnerable narcissist. Easily offended, withdrawn, plays the victim, very woe is me, a lot of passive aggressive behaviours, a lot of guilt trips, sulking, silent treatments, believes the world is against them, extremely envious of others. The fragile narcissist tends to be more emotionally sensitive to criticism than other narcissists, having a more obvious low self-esteem and can be depressed. Someone who's been abused by a narcissist can come across as a fragile narcissist from learned behaviour to protect themselves, when they are actually struggling with something like CPTSD. Fragile narcissists can often get misdiagnosed with BPD. Those with BPD or CPTSD can get misdiagnosed as a narcissist. Things to watch out are exploitative behaviours, a sense of entitlement, envious of others, and a self-serving empathy, unwilling to care for others. They've always been hurt worse. They've always lived through worse. They've always had such a difficult life, and everything is always someone else's fault. The only time they will admit to fault is if they can gain some form of sympathy by doing so. The fragile narcissist doesn't usually have the looks of the somatic or the intellect of the cerebral, so they turn more towards intimidation and they will bully people to get their needs met. The fragile narcissist can be very lazy, although they'll often project and accuse you of being the lazy one. If they find a partner, they will be extremely reliant on their partner for everything. As with most narcissists, they will try to find someone who benefits the narcissist in some way. Someone with money because they don't want to work. Someone with a home because they have nowhere to live. They can have already alienated a lot of family members or a lot of friends. However, they will spin the stories to those they meet about how much they did for their family or how much they did for their friends and how much their family or friends took advantage of them. The most heartbreaking part is, in some cases, this might actually be true, especially if they were raised with a narcissistic parent. And you can feel like you can connect and reach an understanding, not understanding the narcissist is using their story to exploit you. The fragile narcissist often acts on impulse and learned behaviour for what works for them. They gaslight, lie, deny, blame shift and project. Like most narcissists, they have a great need to use people. The hoover from a fragile narcissist might not even happen at all, or it can be one where they will play the victim, claiming an illness, that they need your help, they need your support. Once they realise you're no longer interested, they will seek someone new, as they will find it easier on their ego. The fragile doesn't always embark on a smear campaign. If they do, it's less to get at you and more to gain sympathy from those around them. The fragile narcissist often has a victim mentality. They are always playing the victim and always require a lot of sympathetic attention. They are often highly sensitive. They take offence to the slightest bit of real or perceived criticism. And as narcissists they make everything about them. If you've suffered a loss, theirs was far worse. If you've had a bad day, they would bring it onto how theirs was far worse than yours, offering you no emotional support and expecting you to forget about your needs and emotionally support them. When they feel threatened in some way, when they feel like their persona is being brought into question, they will quickly project and bring you down and then blame you for feeling down in order to feel better about themselves. The fragile narcissist will often be ill, as this is a perfect excuse to them to get them out of doing anything. You'll often find that headaches is a great one that they will play on, as you cannot tell if they genuinely have a headache or not. Also things like bad backs. If they cannot pinpoint an illness, they'll often make one up. This is why headaches are the best. This is also a tactic they use to gain more sympathy from those around them, as well as getting out of doing things. The fragile narcissist's first line of narcissistic defences will be those passive-aggressive behaviours, shutting people out, opting to use the silent treatment, or they can turn to the sulks or the pity plays as their preferred method of manipulation to punish others. Like many narcissists, they will always play the victim card because they will always see themselves as the victim. The fragile narcissist will usually play on the woe is me, helpless victim attitude to con people into looking after them. They sponge off people as they are often in debt themselves and will most often financially abuse those who do love them through guilt trips and pity plays. Like many narcissists, due to their inability to create internal happiness, they can have a substance abuse problem. Most people will feel sorry for the fragile or class them as a good for nothing, backing up the narcissist story that no one will give them a break, often because when people do give them a break, the fragile narcissist takes advantage. Often the fragile can resort to physical violence or punching, throwing things when they're not getting their own way, especially when their inner grandiosity doesn't match their outer life. So they've got the bigger reality gap. So they don't want to come across as a woe is me, vulnerable kind of person, and they're trying to hide their innermost feelings from others. They will not take responsibility for their own behaviour, and if they do in a moment, it's only to get their needs met, and further down the line, it will be twisted back round onto being your fault or someone else's fault. The fragile narcissist can be difficult to spot as they are more covert in behaviour, and we can feel a lot more guilt walking away from them as they are the masters of manipulation when it comes to those guilt trips. And when they do it in more of a covert way, they can in one way put a grandiose act on to other people and show themselves as to be confident and arrogant to the outside world, yet on the inside they feel extremely low, extremely fragile, like many narcissists, and they turn on others in order to feel better about themselves. I shall add the video in the description for the 23 signs that you could be dealing with a vulnerable narcissist. If anyone else has any signs of a fragile narcissist that they've noticed, please do add these into the comments. Thank you very much for listening, and go out there and create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.